Remember when we made Jesters Juice? I thought we should make it again, but this time a sparkling version of it. Shout out to Tommy, owner of Deadwood Meadery, for letting me make this mead in an actual meadery. To start, we're going to add 6 to 7 pounds of honey. I'm trying to get this mead to around 5 to 7% ABV, kind of like a beer or IPA. So to make sure we stay at that level, we're going to do gravity readings in between adding honey and water to make sure we stay in between 5 and 7%. Once we get the desired alcohol by volume, we can go ahead and start adding our fruit. Now, as usual, I always suggest using a brew bag because it makes extracting the fruit after fermentation that much easier. First, we're going to add the zest of 6 lemons, then 6 pounds of frozen strawberries and 6 pounds of cotton candy grapes. Make sure to tie your brew bag up nice and tight because I forgot to do so, and I'm going to pay for it later. Now let's go ahead and get our yeast hydrated during this time. I'm using a Lalvin V1116 yeast, but before we pitch the yeast and the nutrients, we're going to juice all 6 of those lemons we used for zest earlier. I'm also adding a ton of pectic enzyme because I want the fruit to break down and the juices to be in the mead as much as possible. And this yeast obviously took to the mead real quickly because it started fermenting in a couple of hours. And because there was only 6 pounds of honey, this mead only took a couple of weeks to ferment through. Using a hops basket and an industrial liquid pump that I named Rosie, we're going to siphon the mead into another vessel. That way we can add some toasted marshmallow honey, lemon zest, and Madagascar vanilla bean and let it age for a couple of weeks. I'm not going to put an oak this time around because I want it to be more refreshing. And after we've let this mead age, we can siphon it into a carbonating keg. I'm using a 5-gallon carbonation keg that can be used to carbonate soda or beer or pretty much any carbonated beverage that you enjoy. We'll hook the vessel up to a CO2 keg for a couple of days and make sure that the pressure is at least between 16 and 20 psi before we start canning the mead. Once again, shout out to Tommy of Deadwood Meadery for allowing me to use his meadery to make my session, which is just a fancy word for a carbonated mead. I'm going to sanitize the tap station before hooking up my vessel and giving my mead a little taste. As usual, the aroma is beautiful, smelling like Skittles or Mike and Ike's, and the taste was breathtaking. The first notes I got immediately were cotton candy or some kind of circus candy, but the aftertaste was peanut buttery and chocolatey like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Once the keg is ready, we're going to sanitize a little hose and some cans and then gently pump our mead into the can right until it fills up. We want some of the mead to spill over the can because we do want this can to stay as carbonated as possible. Then, using an October canning machine, we're going to seal some lids on top of these cans. Now, obviously, you don't have to use cans if you don't want to. You can use bottles. Just make sure you have a device hooked up to your can that's able to extract the mead into your bottle while also pushing CO2 into the bottle because you want the mead to stay carbonated. And also make sure that the bottles you're using are even able to handle carbonated beverages. The last thing you want is a blowout. It's dangerous to your family and a total waste of mead. Now with this 5-gallon keg, I was able to get 35 cans of mead out of it. And I gotta tell you guys, now that I've tasted sparkling mead, it's really going to be hard to do mead any other way because this mead was fruity, rich, and refreshing. Definitely one of my top 3 meads of all time. Now, as much as I love this mead, it was definitely one of my more expensive meads to date. Marshmallow, honey, cotton candy grapes, and Madagascar vanilla bean are not cheap. So I wouldn't suggest making a 6-gallon batch of this unless you're willing to spend a considerable amount of money. But after we throw some labels on, we can take satisfaction in the fact that we've made a crushable carbonated honey wine. Thank you so much for watching and make sure to follow to see more content.